Hey everyone, let me break down what happened yesterday because it was a complete travesty of justice. Judge Duignan literally presided over a motion to vacate her own order. And yes, you heard that right, because that's not just unethical, that's illegal. And by law, a motion to vacate, especially one that includes language referencing judicial misconduct or fraud upon the court, must be heard by a different judge. But yesterday, Judge Duignan sat there and ruled on a motion that directly implicated herself. And if that sounds crazy, it is. It actually gets worse. We weren't even allowed to speak. Every time we tried to unmute ourselves, we'd get muted again. And Judge Duignan made it look like they were trying to let us talk, but they weren't. I had to keep clicking unmute, and so did my mom. But it turns out that once again, Judge Duignan herself was muting us. We barely managed to blurt out that Judge Duignan needed to recuse herself and that her sitting on this motion was not just inappropriate, it was against the law. And now here's where it gets even more suspicious, okay? Attorney Sandra T. Khan never got muted, not once. She was allowed to speak freely, ask for everything she wanted, and got it, even though she shouldn't even be participating in this case. She has never filed a formal appearance, yet she continues to transmit unstamped, unofficial documents and tries to pass them off as court filed. It's misconduct, plain and simple. And let's be clear, Judge Duignan lied under oath repeatedly. She kept saying we were there for a motion to reconsider, and that is an outright lie. A motion to reconsider and a motion to vacate are two totally different legal proceedings. If this were a motion to reconsider, yes, technically, she could hear it. However, a motion to vacate, especially one alleging judicial misconduct, requires a different judge. So the fact that Judge Duignan presided over this hearing proves one thing. She is actively trying to cover for herself. And so let's talk about this email that we sent to Chambers that Sandra T. Khan moved to have stricken from the record. Okay. Why? Because this email literally contains proof that another judge, Judge Kelly McCarthy, was supposed to hear the motion to vacate. Instead, they switched judges in the middle of the court proceedings so Judge Duignan could preside over our motion to vacate her June 25th, 2025 order. The email that we sent on July 14th completely undermines their entire scheme of Judge McCarthy and Judge Duignan switching positions to rule over the July 15th court hearing. Now, here's a fun fact. They don't know that we had awesome outsiders that witnessed the judges switching in the middle of the court hearing so that Judge Duignan could rule over her own motion to vacate her June 25th, 2025 court order. And this is one of the main reasons they want to pretend that this email never existed. And I'm sure, I'm not sure where you're watching this, but, if you want to go to my YouTube channel, you can check out a copy of the email in the description. Or if you're watching this on Threads, check out one of the previous threads. It's in there. Okay. So just go ahead and check out one of those previous threads and you can see the email yourself. But here's the kicker. It proves my point. Even though Judge Duignan verbally kept insisting we were there for a motion to reconsider, attorney Sandra T. Khan filed the order listing it as a motion to vacate. That's in writing. And it confirms everything that we've been saying. So let's not play games anymore. We were there for a motion to vacate. It involved allegations of fraud and judicial misconduct. Judge Duignan should have recused herself, but instead, she sat on the bench, muted us, and ruled in her own favor. That is not justice. That is corruption, plain and simple. And because I keep hearing people say, Tasha, you just get a lawyer, just get a lawyer. What good is the best lawyer in the world going to do if the judge is corrupt? And I really, really need you to hear me when I say this. We had a lawyer. Hiring a lawyer doesn't guarantee justice. And speaking from personal experience, some of those lawyers are working both sides, getting paid by you while getting paid not to fight for you. Let me be clear, I have yet to meet a lawyer that truly has both courage and integrity and the guts to stand up to a corrupt judge. Many of them are too afraid to go against the system that signs their paychecks, or they're too busy protecting their own circle. So at the end of the day, they're not protecting you even though you hired them. So stop being naive and focusing on a title. Lawyers can be just as corrupt. And we literally didn't start making real progress in our case until we took over the case ourselves. And yes, that's right. We're pro se. But guess what? We know the law as well. And guess what? Justice is supposed to be blind. So whether it's a licensed attorney or a well-prepared citizen, truth is truth. The problem is the bench is missing something far more important than a law degree. It's missing ethics. Hate to burst your bubble, but don't assume your lawyer is fighting for you just because you're paying them. We've seen it, okay? We have sat in these courtrooms and watched high-priced lawyers taking calls from their cars, forgetting to file basic affidavits, making mistakes that even a first-year law student wouldn't make. Meanwhile, their clients are literally paying these folks thousands of dollars to get their cases sabotaged by the very lawyer that they hired. And if we're doing so badly representing ourselves as pro se, ask yourself, then why haven't they dismissed our case with prejudice? Why hold us hostage with unsigned orders? And again, if we're so unqualified, our case would have been thrown out with prejudice by now, okay? They can't throw out our case because the minute they do, they open the door to exposing just how blatant and deep this corruption runs, because that would blow up the entire scheme Chicago's eviction courtroom has going. A very, very lucrative property stealing racket that they're hoping nobody notices. Well, they messed with the wrong ones because we're not backing down. And we're not about to stay silent, okay? However, here's the other problem that we're running into, okay? Who do we report this to? The very government agencies that are supposed to hold people accountable are the ones saying, sorry, we can't get involved because this is a legal matter. Wait, what? I am literally reporting judicial misconduct. I'm literally reporting attorneys failing to act ethically. Why would the government agencies like, the Illinois Attorney General, the governor's office, the Illinois State Board, and countless other agencies that we've contacted respond with silence? That makes zero sense. And now for those that are saying, Tasha, just go to the media. Trust me, I would love to. So if you know a journalist who has the courage to cover this, not a generic tip line, have them contact me directly, because I've emailed almost every journalist in Chicago and gotten crickets. Okay. So I'm asking, where does that leave us? And this is why we've taken to social media, because when every door closes, you have to build your own platform. And so we're doing what we can, hoping to connect with folks who still believe in truth and justice, real investigative journalists or documentarians who actually care about exposing corruption. If you know someone like this, connect us, okay? But if not, now you understand why we keep speaking up for ourselves. So here we are doing what we can to protect others and expose the truth, not because we want attention, but because we refuse to let this happen to someone else. We are not the first, and sadly, we will not be the last. But we can be the ones who speak up. So please help us spread the word. Thanks.